And before the MBA program, I really didn't have the language beyond what Facebook provides. The biggest difference for me is just an ease. I feel so empowered with the information and how deep the program goes into the fundamentals. Yeah, this is going to be a little more personal to me. I hope that's okay.
Love it.
But I mean, we can go there and the trade-offs of the time saved, right? I used to day trade Facebook foolishly, like many people. The ROI is not there for the business, but the challenge is there's so many misconceptions and outdated or just straight up wrong ideas about how a CPM optimized platform works. There's been many stages of my career where I felt like I was really burnt out. But for me now, as I'm growing in my career as an agency leader, it's more about how can I give fundamentals and frameworks, systems to a team, and not only give them SOPs, which you so generously provide in the program, but beyond that, really installing that software of how to think. Success for me these days is having a team that I trust, who we can scale together, because it's not enough for me to be smart. It's not enough for me to have the ideas in my head. Over time, I'll be honest, Charlie, it's sometimes challenging to bring people along in the process, but it's worth it. Because at a certain point, there's only so many hours I can put in. There's only so many things I can do. So I think that's what, to me, is like a relief, because I can take a day off and go hang out with my parents on my birthday and not worry that there's going to be some emergency that only I can handle. Because the truth is, it's not rocket science. It doesn't require the most brain power. I think if anything, really mastering the art of growth, especially in like a D2C e-com context, sometimes it's about giving yourself the breathing room and not getting caught up in endless clicking and scrolling. And when I am really brutally honest with myself, I was analyzing data in a way that was completely inactionable. There was nothing positive that was coming out of it. It was a massive waste of time. But what it did give me and gave my employers and clients and business partners, it gave us a false sense of control.
Yeah.
And so we have to let go of the illusion of control. And there are certain things we can do to we can increase our batting average, no doubt, right? I think everybody in this program believes that, but it's not going to happen by being addicted to your laptop and addicted to refreshing and addicted to all the breakdowns. Unless you
like
have
the dopamine hits
of
the Apple R button. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. So I think that's what the biggest difference for me is, just an ease.
I think that's so great. What I'm hearing is like, you're able to work on the business instead of in the ad account.
Right. And we can talk about more fun problems, like how do we talk about the offer? My team and agency is more about offer-led growth. We also do different services. We're not just ads. And in my past lives, I didn't even have the bandwidth to start, like, the fundamentals of email and CRO, especially if you have a like research background. I think people from the social sciences can really thrive in this industry. But if you don't have the bandwidth to be able to analyze the whole picture, you're spinning your wheels, because what you're doing over here in ads is not happening on its own. But if you're in just doom scrolling basically all the time, you're not coming up for air and asking the important questions. For example, we were in Triple Whale earlier today and we're like, business MER is not improving, but the ads performance is looking amazing. Every week it's getting better. What's going on?
Love it.
So it's really shifted the culture. Yeah. And not to discount what my team does. There's still genuine effort.
Of course. Somebody's got to do the thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. But I'd much rather pay someone to spend an hour coming up with creative concepts and really breaking down like what about different things is resonating with people. And I love the classes that you bring Sarah in for. That gives us the psychology of everything. And that's what is so fun. I love to spend time with my team talking about that. And of course, we get to the fundamentals. We talk about all the things in the program. I think something that comes up a little bit, because it's funny. It's fun watching like my own journey. And when I revisit the course, it kind of sinks in at a new level for me, because there's only you're only integrating so much.
Of course.
And you're acting on it along the way. So that really helps solidify it. And having that back and forth with you during that critical period is amazing. And then having the calls with people on Fridays. I know I'm absent a lot, but I do watch the replays. And just hearing other people problem solve in that way is so much cooler. And so anyway, I'm rambling now, but I don't know.
You're fine. This is great. I love it. I mean, what you're showing is just an excitement and exuberance of something where like you used to be stressed out and unable to handle more bandwidth and do the most important thing, which is enjoy life and spend time with your family. And now you're like,
and my team.
You have a team, and like you're just going on about how much fun and like rewarding this is. That's what I'm hearing, at least. Yeah,
my job's fun. The best compliment I got this year from a newer client was, they said, Jordan, like most people that we talk to about this, they use a lot of jargon. We've had agencies in the past, and the way they talk about it is really confusing. We didn't really understand what they were saying. And everything you just said in this meeting like made perfect sense, because it's just crystalline and we're not bullshitting.
Yeah. It's funny how much easier it is to communicate when you understand something well enough to make it simple.
Right. And like something we're doing more of on my team too is soft skill development. And this crazy AI is not new. And if you've been doing Facebook ads, like you've been using machine learning and AI for years. So it's not new, but it obviously hit the scene really big this year. And with that, a lot of people are forced to ask the question of themselves, what does my career look like in 5 years? So I have more time to have those conversations with people and mentor people in that way. And we've also added weekly, we're doing a communication workshop. Like we're role-playing communication, because what you teach in the program is amazing. And as an agency leader, what I have to do is how do we communicate effectively so that everybody knows what they need to know. Now, obviously, not every single one of my clients has the bandwidth to go through your program. And so that's fine. That said, we've got so many documents. I have looms like out my ears of going into the details, really breaking things down, because people do get excited about it, but it's too much information. So the question I'm constantly asking myself is, what is the right amount? How do I simplify what I'm talking about? And if we don't have the language and the skill set to explain why that is a liability, in your words, and I use them all the time, liability to your business, then anyway, my team likes to win. Like we are entrepreneurs. GrowthHit is an entrepreneurial focused agency.
I love that you're working on the soft skills, because I've been in the agency world on and off for a decade or more. I mean, over a decade now, on and off, which is terrifying to think about, but whatever. And so many people, it's interesting, the most successful folks in that space generally wildly over-index on one side or the other. Like me, I wildly over-indexed on like analytics and workflow and process, but I'm terrible at creative, and communication is something I'm still working on. But I find that like what's great is finding the people that are excellent at one thing and then filling that gap with something easily repeatable. You can teach people to communicate really well through the Loom videos of the process of going through Golden Bear or Scrum Doc or something. And somebody that is not mathematically inclined is able to speak to a business owner about their finance department in a way that is at least kind and compassionate and understanding where everybody knows what everybody else is doing. And
I think it's about simplifying. I think it goes back to exactly that, because when we use the Scrum documents, it's no mystery what's going on. And I think we tell ourselves stories too about whether we're a math person or a communication person. And I really think most of us are capable of a lot more than we think. But when things are black and white like that on paper, it's just not hard. It's more of a confidence issue than anything, is what I find. But that's great. Like we can spend time on that. Like I'd much rather spend our time there than something crazy I used to do. We had some fun terms for it, but audience juicing was probably the most like bland one.
Love it.
But it was stupid. It was so dumb. We'd be launching like 90 audiences a week.
Okay. I'll tell you this
stuff.
Yeah, let me tell you the trauma that I had, that someone inspired like my move, like when Broad came around, when Facebook was like, we have this new thing called advanced matching. We're about to release the tech into the platform like next month. We're going to find 8 or 9 people to do the test with. And I had Macy's and Joybird and Pizza Hut and Starbucks at the time.
Wow,
so
yeah.
I had the ability to drop coin on their new stuff and figure it out. But like, I was running Pizza Hut and I had to do 10 different audiences with 4 different ads each week for each DMA, because each region of the country was its own franchise department. So every owner of a Pizza Hut location would chip in to be the marketing.
Right.
And if somebody didn't, you had to black out that section, which basically meant I had to launch 100 ads in 37 different markets every single week.
It's crazy.
And like, I was working at a company at the time that was like some tech that had put on top of Facebook, but the tech broke more often than Facebook did. And it's just, never again will I ever, because like it's, what did we get out of that?
The ROI is not there for the business, but the challenge is there's so many misconceptions and outdated or just straight up wrong ideas about how a CPM optimized platform works. And before the MBA program, I really didn't have the language beyond what Facebook provides, which frankly is it's about this deep. Yeah. It's not that it's wrong, but it's not really satisfying to someone who is really invested in entrepreneurial in their business and turning all over every stone. Like they want to know that we're looking at every possible way to give them an advantage. But the truth is, a lot of these levers, again, go back to false control. We don't really care if it's Facebook, TikTok, whatever. But most of the brands we work with, surprise, have a finite budget. They have finite resources. I've been in situations where we had millions of dollars and it didn't matter if it did anything.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a different game. And I understand that maybe the choices in that sandbox are different, right? Yeah. Brand awareness, things like that. That's a different game. And I don't want to tell a CMO of a Fortune 50 company that they're wrong on that, because no, they're smart people. Like I know a few of them, they're very smart. But when we're talking about like the example you gave, I have 6 months of runway in my business and I have to make every dollar count. If we can't explain articulately why running a bunch of audience tests, A, is going to get us nowhere and B, is going to damage the things that are working, we both lose.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a long-term partner. And I don't like losing.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither. That's like
and they're going to be frustrated because they don't get the results.
Yeah.
So it's really about it is a good faith approach, right? It's not about how long can I extend the Facebook contract with this client. It's more about how can we make sure that the inputs we're giving Facebook obviously align with the business objectives and help us get to whatever that next milestone is. And guess what? Sometimes we have to talk about things that are outside of the platform too.
Totally. And I think you hit on something here and just, it was like, oh, I love hearing people say it. And I enjoy the way you talk about things because I think you've articulated it in a way that I would hope that I can remember to articulate later.
We're recording it.
Which is something along the lines of, I can't tell you how many folks, I mean, you joined the MBA a little over a year ago, right? And there's been a lot more folks that have come in. And some of them are agencies, some of them are freelancers, some of them are brands. But I think it was at the point now where at least 35 to 40% of the people that come in are either clients of agencies or have brands that have come on board that have fled the normal agency space.
Right.
And like the overwhelming vibe that people, here's the process. You get on the sales call where somebody gets you hyped. And that person's like the salesperson or whatever, and they make you feel great. And then first off, you never ever see that person ever again. And then you're like installed onto this like kid that doesn't really know what's going on, that's quoting the same stuff off of Twitter that you saw. And I'm like, I'll try that. Like, why am I paying you to do that when I could do it?
I mean, I have the same conversations. There's many, and sometimes I am involved in the sales process. Sometimes I'm not. It depends. But because I oversee all these parts, sometimes it's helpful to talk to someone who's a little going to be more involved in the project later. And the conversations I have are this agency PTSD. Yeah. And the reason we get so much trust is because I was doing all of those same things too.
Yeah.